Hey guys. Okay, so I couldn't sleep and I'm hoping that you all can hear me. So, I'm not going to be super professional tonight. Sorry, I probably should be. This is Amy with True Crime Sushi, and I wanted to run some things by you. I know you've probably heard it a million times, but I would really, really, really like to play Gabby's 911, or not Gabby's, but the 911 call that was made that was released today. And then I'd like you to hear John Walsh's response to it. John Walsh, of course, is from America's Most Wanted. And, I'm sure he wouldn't remember me, but way, way back in the day when I worked in public relations, he was one of our clients. So I've always really respected him. And, I spent a good year traveling on a speaking circuit with him. And I actually, he did a he did a big arena event with us in Detroit, and I believe it was in 2000, maybe. Can't remember. God, I can't believe it's 21 years ago. It's probably 2000 or 2001, and it was at Comerica Park in Detroit. And then we did all the other events at the Fox Theater, but it was this lunch, like upstairs looking over the baseball field. And I had to introduce him. And I actually jumped because when I got behind the microphone, they hadn't checked the sound in it. Like it got feedback. So yeah, it was embarrassing. That's okay. I went through it. You guys know I'm a dork. I did like probably the Ashley Simpson SNL jig or something like that. So, anyway, oh, I see there's some people here, some really familiar faces. And I really appreciate it. I so appreciate it. Maui girl, Judy, Shonda, or is it Chonda? Oh, and you're from Pensacola. I'm a Florida girl too. Tina Baker, Two Girls Gaming, and Haunted. So hello, hello, hello. So if you're new and you don't know me, I have a little history with YouTube. Um, and I collaborate a lot. Trisha Griffith and I, who owns websleuths.com, amazing site, your go-to place. We are good friends, and she also has Web Sleuths YouTube Live, and so I'll often go over there and hang out and chat about true crime because she's the woman I want to talk to about it. And if you're wondering about my weird background, and then I'll stop talking about myself so it's not boring. I'm actually in Northport, Florida, where Brian Laundrie lives. And that is my hotel room. And you don't want to see me on camera right now. So that's it. All right. So anyway, let's go and listen to this call. So it's been a hot minute, you guys, since I have used StreamYard. It's crazy. I had a little bout of pneumonia and was down for like a month or a little over a month. It was awful. Take care of yourself. Not COVID. Not COVID at all. So I'm going to play this call first, and it starts right here. Make sure y'all can see it. And here we go.
Hi, can you hear me, sir? Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, I'm calling. I'm right on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower, and we're driving by, and I'd like to report a domestic dispute in Florida with the Florida license plate, white land, gentleman on 5'6" beard. They just drove off. They're going down Main Street. They made a right onto Main Street from Moonflower. Or what were they doing? Cooperative, but what do you say? What were they doing? We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl. He was slapping her? Yes, and then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
Okay, so there you go on that. And then go back here and we are going to listen to John Walsh on Anderson Cooper 360. And he has been, I might have to scrub this back just a little bit.
John, thank you for being with us. So the 911 caller that we heard, the report's a potential domestic dispute between the two, with the caller saying that the man was slapping the girl. When you hear that 911 call, what do you think?
It was chilling to hear it today, and it made me feel really, really bad, because I said, how is it that 911 operator, and they're hard-pressed and that phone rings all the time, I've been in a ton of 911 centers, didn't get that information to those two deputies that stopped him?
Okay, you guys, I messed up just a little bit. Sorry. I told you. And I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. So I'm sorry. I will get so much better at this when when I do this on a more regular basis. So here we go. It's this one. And now that looks right. And we're just going to scrub this back and let it fly.
John, thank you for being with us. So the 911 caller that we heard, the report's a potential domestic dispute between the two, with the caller saying that the man was slapping the girl. When you hear that 911 call, what do you think?
It was chilling to hear it today, and it made me feel really, really bad, because I said, how is it that 911 operator, and they're hard-pressed and that phone rings all the time, I've been in a ton of 911 centers, didn't get that information to those two deputies that stopped him? I read the deputy's report, and they said he was the victim. I looked at it with an FBI agent friend of mine, and I was terrified when I first saw it, when it didn't come out that the wonderful people who made the call said that he was slapping her. And so the two deputy sheriffs say that he was the victim. And we looked at it, this FBI friend of mine and I looked at it, and I said, this girl's terrorized. This is classic domestic abuse. He's terrorized her not to tell the cops that he was the aggressor. He was the slapper and the puncher. And it's so sad, because she might be alive today, because that wasn't translated to the two deputy sheriffs who pulled him over. They let him go, and in his report said that she was the aggressor. She was terrified. It just was chilling to see that those cops didn't get the information, that the person who called in was so concerned that he pulled over a tourist and called 911 because he saw this guy beat back out of Gabby.
Well, I mean, also, how great is it that, we're at a point now where people know to take this kind of thing seriously, and that person had the presence of mind to photograph the van. There are a lot of people who might have seen that and said, oh, it's not my business. It's, it was just a slap or whatever. That person took it seriously, and that matters.
You're absolutely right. I've been doing this, and you and I have been talking about it since my son was murdered in the early 80s, my son Adam. It's the public that will solve this case, and I believe the public will catch this guy. I'm going to put him on my new show, well, it's our third season, In Pursuit with John Walsh, on Wednesday night, because I've learned one thing, just what you said right there, Anderson. It's the public that solves these crimes. I caught 1,400 fugitives uncatchable by cops, 17 FBI top 10 fugitives in 45 countries. It wasn't me who caught them. It was the people who called into my hotline. And lots of people don't want to call the FBI hotline. They think an FBI agent's going to show up at their house. U.S. attorney will drag them into court. There'll be revenge, rebuttal. But I think people will understand, and I'm going to do this on Wednesday night. You can call me. I don't care who you are, where you are, what your name is, whether you're legal, illegal, or whatever. Just give me the name, the place, and we'll pick up the guy. So we're going to put the heat on Brian on Wednesday. And the whole thing is so sad, Anderson, because, this family did not help at all. And it's this girl lived with them. Brian's fiance, Gabby, lived with them. And when he showed back up with her van, and he laid around the house for 10 days,
He could have scrubbed that van. This is not that the FBI didn't find much in that van. They certainly didn't find anything in the house because their parents didn't file the missing persons report till 10 days he's been there. And his family has helped him. You know, this ruse about, and this lawyer here, I hope this Stephen Bertolino, the lawyer, has had enough of his Johnny Cochran, O.J. Simpson 15 minutes of fame, and he starts to do the right thing. They called the cops last Friday and said, well, he left the house on Tuesday distraught with a backpack, and he went out to this preserve so he could meditate, and then we went to see the car. They were lucky to find the car, the parents. They left a note for him in case he was sad and if he needed any help, and then they brought the car home on Thursday, and then this lawyer, this wonderful lawyer, called the cops on Friday and said, we're doing the right thing. We're going to tell you that Brian went to that reserve. You know what it was? It was a red herring. They bought Brian 4 more days to get away. They bought him 4 more days to run. It's disgusting. At some point, this family, this mother and father have to realize that somebody's beautiful daughter was murdered by their horrible sociopathic son and her fiance, and the parents have been helping them. It's just sad. It's just really sad.
What steps will investigators be using at this stage, you think, to try to track Laundrie down? I mean, obviously, and he would be aware of this as anybody, any kind of, electronic devices, I guess there's some hope, there might be a ping, or at least where they had been in the past, they might be able to get more of a sense of it from various tracking of electronics. But what are they doing?
Well, it seems to me that the lawyer and his parents are giving him a lot of good advice. I'm sure he's bought burner phones. He's not using any phones that are recognizable. They got to find out where he went into a store and bought a phone with 100 minutes. And they have to keep big, close eyes on the mother and father. They've been helping him all along the way, and I've caught hundreds of fugitives whose relatives helped them. And I caught a guy that was on the U.S. Marshals 15 Most Wanted, and his mother helped him stay out there for 5 years. He killed his ex-wife in a domestic dispute in front of their children. But when they caught the mother, who had been sending him money and helped him cover it up, she's doing 5 years in a federal prison right now. So these parents ought to do the right thing for Gabby and her family, who are brokenhearted. I'm the father of a murdered son. They're the parents of a murdered girl. They ought to decide they got one chance in life to do the right thing and go in, and the lawyer and the parents, and tell them everything they know. Because I'll tell you what, if they want to see their son alive, he might get taken down in a bad capture. So if they're trying so hard to keep him alive, they ought to say, look, son, you did something really horrible. We helped you. We're sorry. It's a terrible thing. But you ought to come in. You ought to come in. And the lawyer didn't give him good advice. I said that the lawyer should have told him to come on his own in where he could have made a deal. But now there's no deal for Brian. They're going to catch him. He's going to get the book thrown at him. And maybe the parents are going to get charged too. And they're not going to like this guy in prison. He's a guy that beat a 90-pound girl to death. And we're going to catch him. I'm hoping the public will on Wednesday night start calling my hotline, or tonight, Anderson. You and I did a show years ago that after I did the show, if you remember, you subbed for Regis, and we caught a guy off of that show. So I'm telling people tonight, if you don't want to call the cops, if you don't want to call the FBI, call my hotline and we'll pick this creep up.
You mentioned Adam, your son, who's 6 years old. It's been 40 years since he was abducted. The agony that a parent goes through obviously is something you understand. For the Petito family, it's compounded obviously by the betrayal of the fiance and the family of the fiance, who didn't help them at all. Do you have a message for the Petito family as they go through this ordeal?
My prayers are with the Petito family. I've saddled up. I'm going to do everything I can to help you catch this guy, to make sure he faces justice. And nobody knows that pain. The loss of a child, we don't have it in our genes to bury our children, Anderson. You've got kids. You can't imagine if somebody killed those kids and you had to go to their funeral. So my prayers are with them, and I'm trying to help them in my own way. We're both parents of murdered children. It's not closure, Anderson. It's justice. We need to see this creep brought in and pay for this. And my heart is out to them. It just ended in a horrible, horrible way. But this guy's a coward. This guy's a coward who beat and killed a 90-pound, beautiful, wonderful, sweet young lady. So he's going down sooner than later.
John Walsh, I appreciate you being with us again. The program In Pursuit with John Walsh, Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern on Investigation Discovery and streaming on Discovery Plus.
Okay, so there we go. So a couple things from that. First of all, I mean, John Walsh gets passionate, very passionate, and for good reason. And I live in Florida, so when Adam Walsh disappeared, I was 8 years old, and I think that was the first time I ever got interested in true crime. That's kind of my true crime story. It was in the papers. There was no internet because I'm a dinosaur. And it was in the papers. And I remember my mom trying to shield us about the way he was discovered and, trying to dig through stuff to read about it. And why would someone take a little boy? Why would they do things like that? Mary Deathy Deals, you are not late. I'll say hello to a bunch of people. Carolyn Dillman, thank you. Yeah, I had pneumonia for like a long time. Like it was bad. And I was tested for COVID so many times. My nostrils, like they're like all stretched out. Probably look like I don't know, like a giraffe. I don't know. But anyway, so John Walsh he is straight up calling Brian a sociopath. He has no qualms about his feelings about him. And I personally, I like people with strong opinions that will, stand behind them and back them up. And if they're wrong, they're wrong. I tend to get a little mouthy about stuff sometimes too. Not going to even lie about that. It's who I am. I get passionate and I say things, and people don't like that I say them, but it's how I feel at the time. The second part is, how do you guys feel about John Walsh saying the public is solving this case? And the past 48 hours, I have read so many crummy articles calling people like us, junior detectives, the same old words, internet sleuths, Nancy Drews, things like that. I personally am not here to solve a crime, and I never have been. I like discussing true crime, what the possibilities are and the legal aspects and things like that. But and I'll review a video and go frame by frame, and I'll look up documents and things like that, but I'm not going real life. Although I am here in Northport, but I'm not knocking on anybody's doors. I think people know I stay away from family. I just don't do that. It's no judgment on other people. It's just I've had my own experiences and made those mistakes, and I won't do it again. So anyway, John, in the chat, John Walsh from America, formerly of America's Most Wanted, and father of Adam Walsh, who went missing, like he said, 40 years ago in a mall in Hollywood, Florida, in a Sears store, actually. He is complimenting the public with coming together. And I truly believe that this is why Gabby's case has so much momentum. And Mary Deathy Deals, you just said it. Red, White, and Bethune's cam caught the video and showed the world where Gabby was. That's true. And think about it. She did it 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? I can't even remember. Or is today tomorrow? I don't know. But anyway, she went through video from, went back and said, oh my God, we were here on the 27th. I remember we saw that van. And, when I first started hearing this story, the skeptic in me kind of went, I don't know, which is terrible. But because she had the backstory of the reason why I remember this, is because we are from Florida, and I was excited, and I was like, woohoo, maybe we should stop and say hi. And then there didn't seem to be anybody in the van. So I'm going to go through some of your comments here. Judy says, the public is making a fuss, so these people can't get away with things like this. Unfortunately, the justice system is quite flawed. Look at Barry. Oh, yes, Barry out on bail. There's way too much to talk about, you guys, here. Oh my gosh. And yes, you're going to see Tambra in here telling me I was supposed to be in bed. I told her an hour ago I was going to sleep. I didn't lie. I changed my mind. But hey, tell us about the COVID and pneumonia. Randomly, I think going through that, John Walsh is a legend. I didn't have COVID. I had walking pneumonia is what I had. It was bronchitis, and I ran myself down into the ground. So if you feel yourself getting sick, it's no joke right now. Go to your doctor and take care of it right away and get tested right away. It's nothing to mess around with. Trust me. Carolyn Dillman said, call it like it is, right? And John certainly does. Oh, there's a lot of Scottish in here tonight. That's fun. And see, who else is Scottish? See, I wouldn't know. I'm looking through this. I'm trying to look at your names, but I can't do it that way. Let's see what this. Jiu-Jitsu lover. Her disappearance was preventable. The cops could have arrested Brian on the road. I pray they catch him and justice is served for Gabby. His parents knew something was odd. Okay, so that kind of brings us around. I have a little bit of ADD and it's late. So, now we know that we had a 911 caller that says that Brian was hitting Gabby. So, and the police report, and that person's name is apparently Christopher. So, and then the police report at like, I don't know, 1900 hours, I think it is. I can look on my phone, but I'm not going to right now. It was after Officer Daniel Roberts left the scene. He noted in his report that he had checked with the second witness, and that witness was confused about what he saw. I don't want to make accusations. I don't know if this witness was talked out of his statement. I don't know if he just retracted it. Now you guys are doing all the call outs from where you are. That's fun. I'm going to put them all up here while I'm talking. Put your flags up. But I love it. But that situation shouldn't have gone that way today, or that on August 13th. It just it's all wrong now, and it's hard. It's hard to stomach because somebody else pointed it out in chat earlier. Brian is smiling and laughing, and I don't know if anybody follows me on Twitter, but my Twitter handle is @crimesushi.com, or @crimesushi. I'm sorry, not .com, just @crimesushi. And sorry, I'm looking. My computer just said the battery was low, so I don't know why I was saying that. Anyway, @crimesushi, and I post. Actually, I could show you. Hold on. Share my screen here real quick, and I will show you what I posted. Let's see. I'm gonna get out of here. And then I'm gonna have to do a little scrolling here. Sorry, guys. Except I gotta scroll my alt page. Duh. There I am. Look, @crimesushi. Okay, so that was back a couple days ago. And it was about Brian being named the victim in this case, which, you know, he shouldn't have been. And it made me so angry. I think the most bad words I'll use. Here we go. All right. So let me see. Do this. I messed up my camera now. Not that it matters, but share. Good gracious. You guys must think I'm the biggest spaz. Okay, this one. Can you, I don't know if you can see it. It doesn't look like it's showing on the other screen, but anyway, here we go. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Can't. I wrote, wow, Brian Laundrie on 8/12 being dropped off at the Bowen Motel in Moab. He looks like he just got a lollipop and a ticket to Disney. There was a foreshadowing that day. Look at, I don't know if you can see, like, my computer's going to cooperate. Look at the smile on his face. He's like all happy. He's like asking them if there's a pool. You know, I mean, it's just so ridiculous, like this whole thing. So, you know, under different circumstances, you know, Gabby would have been in the one in the hotel, but she wasn't named as a victim. And it's because he was smiling and laughing, and he was trying to make like everything was okay, and kind of, and you could see she was kind of coached to do the same thing. And then the last thing I'm going to say about this particular situation is now, do you guys remember in the 1:15 body cam video, there was a female park ranger that came onto the scene? I think she might have been the last one in or the next to last in, because you remember there was a male park ranger and the two either highway patrol or police officers. Tambra, I don't think he really asked about a pool. That was me being completely snarky. So don't quote me on that. And don't quote me on that at all. But yeah, he was very excited about that hotel. He was smiling the whole time. His girlfriend drove off in a van after they had a fight to spend the night alone. And she was uncomfortable driving it by herself. And she says it to the cop. She said, how far away is he going to be? And the cop says, well, I can't tell you exactly where he is because this is a domestic situation, safety. And she's like, oh, no, I totally understand. And then she's like, well, it's only because I'm not real comfortable. I don't want to, like, if I have to drive it 40 miles. He's like, no, it'll be close. It's terrible. So let's see. Annie Hall from New Zealand. I'm late to the party, but Amy, I think Gabby looks a lot like a younger version of Blake Lively. Oh, yeah, I could see that too. Totally. Aunt Clara, you're funny. You know what? I just read this. Empress, you said they should have asked if Brian hit her. I think they did. And she said, no, he kind of grabbed my face. And the cops kind of downplayed that, in my opinion. Okay, so now Mary's saying, let's see. Did you see the Facebook post by Sam Bass? His trail cam has dude with same bag as Laundrie in Baker, Florida at 6:17 a.m. I did. I was just looking at Twitter when we went live. And so this guy has deer cams on his property, and there's a guy in a grainy video that has the same build as Brian. The facial hair is cut the same, and the backpack tends to be the same shade. So that was definitely interesting. I'm gonna have to start writing stuff down. and I do have to hold on one second. I'm gonna mute myself for 1 second. Okay, I still have a little bit of a cough. So anyway, all right, so where were we? Okay, so this female park ranger has now joined the scene, and that was kind of nice to see because I was wondering why um, they didn't have a female officer out there. That was a little because it's usually just it's usually protocol if you have somebody, especially somebody you're going to consider um, a perpetrator, which was what Gabby was ultimately considered. You would have a female officer, and even though she's not, the same because she's the park ranger or whatever. But anyway, this particular park ranger has come out and said, I can still hear her voice. Arch's park ranger warned Gabby Petito her relationship seemed toxic. National Park Service Ranger Melissa Holes, the Visitor and Resource Protection Supervisor for Arches National Park, poses for a photo outside the park's visitor center on Sunday, September 19th, 2021. On August 12th, Holes heard a call come from over her radio of a possible domestic assault stemming from an argument in Moab between Gabby Petito and her fiance, Brian Laundrie. And then let's see, it kind of goes through the whole background. And then she says, I can still hear her voice, Holes said in an exclusive interview with the Deseret News. She was just a face on the milk carton. Or, I'm sorry, she wasn't just a face on the milk carton. She was real to me. Hull's pictures the sobbing 22-year-old sitting in the back of the cruiser. She knows her mannerisms just from the rough